Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today I'm going to be talking about the new Shooting Star Road TGEX skill and deck. And it's going to be a short video because this is basically just Shooting Star Road but updated. So, the point of the deck is just to normal summon Junk Synchron and win the game. The benefit of that is that as long as you can draw Junk Synchron, the rest of your deck is just removal and Backrow. That makes it very difficult for your opponent to actually deal with any of your cards. So, let's take a look at the skill. The skill is Shooting Star Road TGEX. This skill's second effect can be used once per turn and twice per duel. At the start of the duel, set one Starlight Junction from your deck, and send one Junk Converter from your deck to the graveyard. Both of these effects, for some reason, happen before your first draw, which means if you play a 20-card deck, you only play an 18-card deck, which is crazy. That makes your deck 10% more consistent than every other deck on the ladder. That is the same thing as if you were playing a 20-card deck and everyone else was playing a 22-card deck. Which, if you know anything about math, it's a significant benefit to you. So this part of the skill alone is probably the strongest part of the skill, if I'm being honest. The rest of it is just gravy. We'll talk about what the cards do in a second. During this duel, you cannot special summon any monsters except Junk monsters, Synchron monsters, and Light or Wind Synchro monsters with 2,500, 3,300, or 4,000 attack points. So it's basically just Stardust Dragon, Shooting Star Dragon TGEX, and Shooting Quasar Dragon. The main reason for the restriction is so that people couldn't play Stardust Warrior or Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon like they were doing with the Bond that Illuminates the Future build. I can understand that, but it's kind of heavy-handed in my opinion. The second effect is if the only monster you control is one Stardust Dragon or one level 10 Synchro monster, play Formula Synchron or TG Respro Dragonfly from outside your deck to your field in face-up defense position. Okay, so basically all this means is you summon Junk Synchron, you win the game. Let's take a look at the deck. For the main deck, we have Junk Synchron. When this card is normal summon, you can target a level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in defense position, but it has its effects negated. You just summon your Junk Converter and go off. Effect Veiler, DD Crow, both good hand traps. Reinforcement of the Army, 3 tunings, and Synchro Overtake to draw your Junk Synchron. If you have more copies of Synchro Overtake, you could also run those. I don't, so this is what I've got so far, and I haven't found any problems with it. 3 copies of Book of Moon, 3 copies of Compulsory Evacuation Device, and Starlight Junction. The best part of this is that you probably have all these cards already, and if you don't, you can go into the pickup box. Junk Converter, when it's revived, you get to go into your Junk Warrior, which you can make even though the skill has restrictions because it has Junk in the name. And then when it's used as Synchro material, you get to revive your Junk Synchron. Then you can go into your Stardust Dragon immediately. The other thing that's important to note is that Synchro Overtake can allow you to special summon Stardust Dragon from your graveyard as long as you still have a Shooting Star Dragon in your X deck, which is pretty useful. Lastly, we have Starlight Junction. You can tribute 1 tuner monster to special summon a Synchron monster from your deck with a different level. During your opponent's turn, if you special summon a Synchro monster from your extra deck, target 1 card on the field and shuffle it into the deck. So the first effect is useful if you want to play Wheel Synchron, and I know that there are some people who are using Wheel Synchron and Mono Synchron to try and make a 1-turn Quasar. I don't think that's worth it. I don't think a 2-card combo is worth the added benefit of getting the stronger monster out. Yes, Quasar is a good card. Absolutely. But Star Dragon is also a good card, and you lose 1 Backrow by doing this. I don't think losing 1 Backrow is worth making your deck less consistent, making you less likely to even open Junk Synchron to begin with. Playing both Wheel Synchron and Mono Synchron in your deck just makes it more bricky, so I recommend this build. The second effect is what we care about. So you pass to your opponent, then you Synchro Summon with Formula Synchron, and you bounce one of your opponent's cards back into the deck, which is really good. This effect is mandatory, by the way. Alright, for the extract, we have Shooting Quasar Dragon, which would make with the skill, 4,000 attack, can attack twice, negates card. The new card, Shooting Star Dragon TGEX, requires a tuner synchro monster plus 1 or more non-tuner synchro monsters. When a monster effect is activated that targets a monster you control, as a quick effect you can banish 1 tuner from your graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. That is not once per turn, but we only have 1 Junk Synchron in the graveyard usually. You can only use each of the following effects of Shooting Star Dragon TGEX once per turn. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can negate the attack. That's useful. And then during your opponent's turn, if this card is in your graveyard, you contribute 2 synchro monsters to special summon it. Also somewhat useful if you happen to have the game go on. So yeah, this is our turn 1 play. We just go into the TGEX during our opponent's turn to trigger the Starlight Junction, and then TGEX can protect itself from being targeted, and then as long as TGEX survives, we win the game. Shooting Star Dragon, this is mostly in the extra deck so that Quasar could float into it. Stardust Spark Dragon, I legitimately couldn't find another card to play in this slot. I mean, I could play a third Stardust, but I don't really want to, so... Or I could play a third Junk Warrior. The skill is so restrictive, I just wanted to get something different. So this card can prevent a card from being destroyed by battle or card effects once per turn as a quick effect, which is something. Stardust Dragon, of course, level 8, has the effect to tribute itself to negate the effect of a card that would destroy a card on the field, and then it revives itself during the end of the turn. Pretty cool. And lastly, Junk Warrior, which is just a level 5. Okay, let's take a look at the replay. So this is a blast from the past for you guys. We're going first against Mermail Antillians. Mermail Atlanteans. Alright. It's our turn. We go first. Our skill activates, so we send Starlight Junction and Junk Converter to the graveyard, and then we draw. So we drew, and we have Junk Synchron in our opening hand, which is all we need. We activate the field spell. Normal summon Junk Synchron, revive the Junk Converter, Synchro into the Junk Warrior. Converter effect. Bring back the Junk Synchron. Synchro into the Stardust Dragon. Activate the skill. Play the Formula Synchron, and pass. It's our opponent's turn. They activate Moray of Greed. Shuffle 2 water monsters into the deck to draw 3. Now they're going to activate Mermail Abystius, discard their Atlantean Dragoons to special summon itself. We will chain DD Crow to banish Atlantean Dragoons from the graveyard so that its effect does not activate to draw a Sea Serpent monster. Alright, Abystius draws Abysgunde, that's fine. He activates a second Moray of Greed, shuffles the Abysgunde and the Swap Frog into the deck to draw 3 more. Then he activates Moray of Greed again, reveals the Heavy Infantry and the Abysgunde to draw 3 more. Now he's going to activate another Abystius, discard another Dragoons to special summon itself. This time we don't have a DD Crow, so Dragoons does trigger, not once per turn. Draw the Deep Sea Diva. Now he's going to link off to give himself space, summon the Coral Anemone. This time we're going to activate our Formula Synchron, and we're going to special summon the Shooting Star Dragon TGEX from our extra deck. Now Junction's effect activates, and we're going to shuffle the Anemone into the extra deck to prevent it from activating its effect. The opponent still has a normal summon, so they normal summon Deep Sea Diva. Deep Sea Diva activates its effect. We will Effect Veiler that. Alright, it's our opponent's turn and the end. Now we activate our skill. We play the Reciprocal Dragonfly. That allows us to send the Shooting Star Dragon TGEX to the graveyard to revive the 2 materials used to make it, Formula Synchron and the Stardust Dragon. Then Formula Synchron can tune Stardust Dragon and Reciprocal Dragonfly to go into Quasar. Quasar attacks, and Quasar attacks directly. There you go. So our opponent was playing a very skill-intense focused deck. They were able to draw 3 cards 3 times. They were able to trigger the effect of multiple monsters that special summon from hand, multiple cards that search from deck, and we were still able to negate and overpower every single one of those plays because we only used 1 card to set up our board, and we were able to save all the rest of our cards for back row and hand traps. Because we did this, our opponent was not able to compete with our board, and we were able to instantly OTK them, again thanks to the skill. So the skill allows you to instantly solo both turn 1 and turn 2 with Junk Synchron. The rest of your deck is gravy, and it's also more consistent because you're only playing with 18 cards. My name is Sarafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.